Please read the disclaimer. XRP holders, it just happened again. Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, moneymakers. So, XRP and the crypto markets and the whole situation around the Iran, will it be decimated or not by the US over the next 48 hours? Kind of got a answer this morning. It kind of played out the way I predicted last night. Although I predicted it would happen a little bit more later in the day, it happened a little bit more earlier in the day. We got some news, which we'll talk about in just a second. Crypto market pumped off of that. And we've seen XRP, Bitcoin, and the rest of the crypto market turn green, as you can see from the bubbles here on the screen. Right now, XRP is sitting at $1.34. And if we zoom in here, you can see XRP is up about 6% since the bottom here, although from GMT time, it's up about 1.32%, but you can see about 5% in the last 21 hours. Bitcoin also, you can see, pumped up here above the previous all-time high from 2021, and now is sitting at 69,000 after the low was at 65,800 just on Thursday. So a very interesting movement here. Ethereum also detaching there. It looks like we might be getting a double bottom. We could be getting a double bottom, but we'll have to wait and see if this is going to develop over the next coming weeks. And XRP is very, very close to potentially breaking out of that trend line. So we'll watch to see how XRP, how the markets are going to react. And as you can see, oil popped up all the way to 114 as markets open up after that long holiday weekend because of Easter, and then started selling off. And we'll get to why it started selling off. It's now sitting at 109 with silver. Silver and gold really haven't had any movement, but they have come up since this morning, you could say. And maybe from the low at 4,600, now 4,690. But crypto made that nice movement over that short period of time, right? Just as markets, futures open up here around this time at 1 a.m. my time, and then you can see that nice movement here, actually hitting the resistance level at 134 and getting rejected for XRP. So, sometimes assets will act according to trend lines and according to resistance areas, as we can see just in this instance here for XRP. And sometimes news trumps everything, right? And in this instance, we had a situation where, like we talked about this already, it came out because the US and Iran and a group of regional mediators are discussing a potential 45-day ceasefire that could lead to a permanent end to the war. Details include this is being described as a last-ditch effort to prevent massive strikes on Iranian civilian infrastructure. Mediators are discussing the terms for a two-phase deal. The first phase would be a potential 45-day ceasefire, during which a permanent end to the war could be negotiated. A U.S. official said Trump gave Iran several proposals in recent days, but so far Iranian officials have not accepted. The source says that the chances for reaching a partial deal over the next 48 hours are still slim. U.S. stock market futures erased all the losses. Again, this could flippity flop very, very fast. So if you are day trading or you're running after these movements that we are seeing today, please be very careful, because one tweet, one headline that Iran says no, or right now it seems that Israel is saying no, right? And so this could, we'll get to that in just a second. It seems that the Israelis do not want to have the ceasefire deal. They want to finish the objectives. And Iran signals resistance to the ceasefire plan, saying it will not accept deadlines or pressure. This coming a day or so after President Trump tweeted Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up in one. After saying that his deadline is not going to be moved down the line further. So he's like, hey, either sign a ceasefire agreement or get ready for some fireworks. And basically, that's what President Trump is saying. And by the way, people that in the comment section think that I mentioned taco last night. It's not that President Trump, always tacos. No, he actually many times says what he does, what he's going to do. He just uses this kind of tactic to get what he wants or pressure the other side to do what he wants. And many times he doesn't chicken out, right? He does a lot of stuff that you can say he's chickening out, right? So it's a term that is used and it's term used by the market just because of the flippity floppity nature. But he doesn't care, right? He doesn't care about our short term trading. He cares about a long term perspective. And so we'll see potentially what happens here. As always, just want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Also, remember that I will never contact you on social media asking you to sign up to anything or to send me anything. Those are scammers, those are imposters. I will never DM you. I will never befriend you, ask you to follow me or sign up to some weird website. Please be very careful out there. Okay. So if we continue to look at what's potentially happening here, you can see that a lot of shorts got liquidated there, right? So if we go and we look at the fear and greed index, we're still at extreme fear, although it came up a little bit. But the fact is that there's still a lot of liquidations that are happening both ways. If we take a look here over the past 24 hours, you can see shorts. Of course, 105 million on Bitcoin, 56 million on Ethereum, XRP about 1.65 on the short, but also some on the long. So, be careful out there if you're high leverage, short term trading. This could kick you out. We could have, you could, oh, I'm going long, I'm going 150x, right? And then you get liquidated. So just be very careful out there. There could potentially be big movements, but there can also be movements suddenly 2-3% movement to the other side, and then you get liquidated if you over leverage yourself. So just be careful out there, okay? Because you know that everything can change. We remember James Wynn had $100 million and he was all over and people were, talking about him so much. And he just shorted the market and is now has only $900 left in his account from 100 million. So listen, um, there could be people that you're following and oh, he's the next, look how much, he did and how much he made. And then the market totally flips and then they over leverage themselves. They get into a bad streak. They don't go according to their rules. They go all willy nilly, and then you could follow them and fall into an abyss. So just be careful out there who you're following, if you're trading according to someone, right? If you're in a group or something like that, just be careful because we've seen traders and investors downfall very, very fast because, for example, they have a group or they have to trade to stay on a certain level. They become very aggressive, and then when the market doesn't work or the market goes against them because of news, because of all kinds of things, they fall and they fall hard. So just remember that and be very, very careful out there. Now, if we're looking at the graphs, right, and we're looking at the current situation, um, we're looking at the current potential of the market still. The rainbow chart is telling us that we're in we're falling out of the rainbow. Right? We're in purple again, but we could potentially be falling if we drop to 50,000. We've been even falling out of the rainbow, and we have fallen out of the rainbow actually to the upside. Here you can see I'm out of the frame. Here we go. Only one time here back in or the early days, right, where it went out. But potentially, if we drop more, we could be totally out of the rainbow. The rainbow. What is it called? The rainbow chart, but it's the rainbow predictive chart. You could say that predicts where we are going. And right now we're at the bottom of the bottom, right? And this was when we were at 15,000 for Bitcoin. That's where we were, and we never got to the red. We never got to the high levels. So again, it will be very interesting to see over the next period of time into the next halving, which is in 2028, right? Where potentially could we go from there, and then where do we go in 2029, right? Because that is the year after the halving. Maybe we fall back into the 4-year cycle. Maybe we don't. We'll find out when we get closer and closer. if the crypto market is still around. I got people in the comment section. Crypto market is over. People are interested in what's it called, poly market, and they don't care about crypto anymore. This is how narratives go sometimes. But the fact is that I don't think that this crypto is a fad or crypto is a narrative, because you see all these big institutions coming to the crypto market. Now, maybe meme coins and things like that, won't be a thing, in 5 to 10 years. Maybe they will. Who knows? But the big, established cryptos, the top 20, the top, the ones that have companies behind them, the ones that are serious, I don't see them disappearing. And that's, again, just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong about that. And that's why I'm investing. That's why I'm speculating, right, in my investments. If I invest in, right now, I could say, for example, and maybe, again, this is a wrong narrative, but maybe oil prices are very, very high right now, right? And if this continues, then people will have a higher price at the pump. So does that mean that people will be less interested in oil cars? Does that mean that the EV narrative is going to come back? Will we see EV companies suddenly start pumping again? That's a possibility if oil stays high for long. If in 2 weeks oil drops to $50 a barrel because there's a ceasefire and then there's a peace agreement, and Iran says they're going to disarm and no nuclear stuff and everything is hunky dory, and oil drops to 50, then maybe people are going to continue buying their gasoline cars. But if this prolongs and oil continues to be high at 140 and 150 and maybe even 200, then the EV narrative could come back. So this is speculation, right? And any investment is you're speculating on what could potentially happen. You're speculating long term what could potentially happen. Again, right now, pre-market here is green, but things can flip. Like I said yesterday morning, last night I predicted that what would happen this morning is that we'd see a sell-off, and then President Trump would do something or say something or give something, and then the market would return. Well, this peace agreement is that something. It just happened a little bit earlier than I thought. I thought the markets would open up, for trading, and then something would come out. But interesting, it came out earlier. Again, to time the what the president is going to say or what the president is going to do is impossible. And so again, if you're always speculating what's going to happen, how is this going to play out, where are we going to be in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, where are we going to be in a year, where are we going to be in 5 years, where are we going in 10 years? It's hard to speculate these things, right? Sometimes you'll be successful, and your investments will be good, and sometimes they won't. Sometimes you'll have an asset that you were very, very, you were right about, and it went up and it went up, and then suddenly a new technology comes out, and that asset drops. Were you wrong in your speculation? Were you wrong in your prediction? No, but something new came out that you weren't able to predict. So it's always about being dynamic, being fast on your feet, changing, and you'll have some misses and you'll have some successes. But at the end of the day, it's about being there in the long term, going for the long run. And that's very, very important to remember, because sometimes people, for the most part, there are successful short term traders and short term investors, but most of the really, really wealthy people in the world are people that worked on compound interest, that for generations have been investing, right? And so that's the difference. And so start generational investing and generational accumulation of wealth, and short term, leave it to the experts. Like I'm talking about hourly, daily trading, right? It's very, very hard. If you think you're becoming an expert and you want to become an expert, then do that. Okay. But for long term, right? Uh, long term is the way to go for long term wealth. Okay. So maybe day trading is good. I incorporate it, but not as a only tactic. Only day trading. I don't have anything in my long term invest. No, I don't support that. A mixture. Not all your eggs in one basket. Okay, that's very, very important to remember. Don't forget to smash the like button. Check out the links in the description down below. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.